Brendon Hawkins is a social technologist, artist, and director of Studio Lab BH. Brendon's work sits at the intersection of culture, information, and color, with a focus on building infrastructures that make emotions visible and legible through data and color. His project, New York Emotions Live, is a real-time civic installation that speculates on affective ecosystems, functioning as an emotional cartography of New York City, exploring how emotions shape society in a macro and micro scale. Check out Brendon's work, links are in the description box below.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brendon Hawkins, artist, researcher, social technologist. I am the founder and director of Studio Lab BH. And today we're looking at New York Emotions, which is the second iteration of my body of work that looks at the emotions of a particular demographic. The first iteration of this was American Emotions, wherein I was curious to see if I could map the emotions of a particular population. And if I could track that set of data across time and infer emotions based on that data collected. So I did that across 6 months leading up to the presidential election last year. And I wanted to kind of run that back and do it for the New York mayoral election. This is a polarizing election with national coverage. And similarly, I want to see if emotions impact how people are going to respond to this moment. So what you get here is this mapping here, where every day I pull in data across the internet, behaviors, text-based behaviors that allow me to run these text-based behaviors through a model. And the output of this conversion is one, an emotion, and two, a color. Those colors that I get are then mapped to this digital canvas. And each one of these bands here, these colored bands, not only represent a data point, one of those data points that I had coming in through this algorithm, but also an emotion. But the thing about this work is it's largely speculative, right? I am looking at this collective of data that could be accurate, could mean many, many things. I'm not interacting with the public, and I'm making a bunch of assumptions. And with this opportunity here, I wanted to see if there was a way in which I could interact with the public and make sense of emotions in real time. So this is what we have here, this right side. And in this moment, I like to have Katie come in, who's overseeing this pop-up. And Katie's gonna partner with me to demonstrate how this works. So what happens is on this iPad here, I'm asking the participants how they feel right now. And what should happen, I'll hand this to you, Katie. What will happen is Katie will respond to that. And when Katie responds in real time, her emotion and her presence will populate in this right canvas as shown here. And what I love about this opportunity is it takes in, and Katie, you can place that there. What I love about this opportunity is it takes in not only the speculative, but also the literal. And I actually want to bring Katie back once more and ask Katie, so yours populated here in this kind of yellowish hue with a close proximity to another body. How does it relate to what you wrote? Is there anything that you're gathering from it, or does it feel quite distant from what it is that you wrote down?
Well, it's actually quite amazing that this is mine right here. This one right here, that it's so closely aligned with this one, as though it's attracted to this, because if I could self-disclose, what I wrote was joyful. And I believe like when you feel joyful and you emanate that as an energy, you attract other joyfulness to you. So I love that this has like drawn this other dot towards me. So yeah, it feels like great.
Yeah, I think that's amazing to think about and also understand like how this model is then positioning. Like I don't control color, I don't control the positionality, and I also don't control the scale of each of these dots, right? And I leave a lot of that up to the system. I wanted the system to be non-deterministic. The thing about emotions is they're quite complex, right? Right now, I am feeling quite a few emotions. I keep telling everyone, I know my family is watching right now, so I'm really proud, but I'm also a little nervous. I'm speaking to people live. I've never shown this work and had to work in this way for this project live, but I'm also excited for what this work could output. And the complexity of emotions um, means that not only is it quite difficult to communicate it, it would then mean that it's quite difficult to map it. And what this work does for me is not concretely defines how we should map emotions. It gives way, whether it be for me or other folks who engage with it, an opportunity and insight into how we could visualize the emotional infrastructure that is maintained within society. And I think that's the best way to kind of describe what I'm working on today.
Just so if I can make a little comment too, I think that what you just said was like so insightful and beautiful, because I think a lot of times, especially those of us who trained in psychology, we always imagine emotion to be an individual state of experience, and that even though your emotions could have an impact on another person, it's still individualized a lot of times in how we speak about emotions. And so this attempt at trying to create a sense of a community map of emotions is like so inspiring, and like it spurs a certain degree of creativity of like how we could imagine mutuality and interdependence and accountability to each other in really important ways, which I think is just so desperately needed right now, especially when we see the current state of the world being so focused on what an individual can gain alone, despite, and especially also the extractive nature of technology. This sort of flips the narrative on that around how we could build beautiful things together and enhance people's human experience versus it just being seen as like dots on a matrix or something like that. So thank you so much for being with us and for sharing your incredibly impactful work with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Yeah, and this is New York Emotions. You can follow my work on Studio Lab BH. I do more research like this.